Federal government set to roll out compressed natural gas initiative. Nigeria secures $2.25 billion World Bank loan and budgetary support from African Development Bank. Federal government eyes $30 billion from debut forex bond. Oil prices retreat as U.S. crude build rate cuts concerns come to the fore. Asia markets rebound from Friday's sell-off. China loan prime rates in focus. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Musa Abubakar, your guide. Now let's bring you up to speed with business development. After months of detailed planning and background work, the committee driving the Presidential Compressed Natural Gas Initiative is set to deliver on Presidential Tinubu's vision and promise to reduce the burden of increase in pump price on the masses. The first set of critical assets for deployment and launch ahead of the first anniversary of the Tinubu administration on May 29 is now ready. Here are details of the initiatives.
The federal government, as part of the many interventions to reduce the burden of increase in pump price on the masses, provided 100 billion naira, which is part of the 500 billion palliative budget, to purchase 5,500 CNG buses and tricycles, 100 electric buses, and over 20,000 CNG conversion kits, alongside spurring the development of CNG refueling and electric charging stations. Bayo Ononuga, Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, says already the committee has delivered some major foundational reforms to enable the new CNG and electric vehicles future the President promised. After the removal of fuel subsidy on May 29, 2023, President Bola Tinubu launched the Presidential CNG Initiative in October last year to deliver cheaper, safer, and more climate-friendly energy. The CNG initiative was designed to deliver compressed natural gas, especially for mass transit. With necessary tax and duty waivers approved by President Tinubu in December 2023, the PCNGI committee is partnering with the private sector to deliver the promise. The private sector has responded with over $50 billion in actual investments in refueling stations, conversion centers, and mother stations. Also, a safety policy document on 80 standards and regulations for operators has been delivered and approved to ensure CNG conversions are done safely. The vision to get at least 1 million natural gas-propelled vehicles on our roads by 2027 will mark a major energy transition in our country's transportation industry. The use of more expensive diesel and PMS will gradually be phased out when many vehicles, including trucks, run on natural gas, which our nation has in abundance in at least 30 out of 36 states. Over 600 buses are targeted for production in the first phase. That will be accomplished this year. Thousands of conversion kits for petrol-powered buses and taxis that want to migrate to CNG are also ready with CNG cylinders. The federal government intends to provide them at subsidized rates, especially to commercial vehicle drivers, to bring down the cost of public transportation. The PCNGI is working with agency partners and set to deliver 100 conversion workshops and 60 refueling sites spread across 18 states before the end of this year.
Business operators in the petroleum industry in Nigeria must shun profiteering or be shunned the way out of the industry. Emmanuel Gila reports that chairman of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, said this in Gombe after meeting with Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya.
There are some people that have actually, held on to the business for a very, very long time. So, they were profiteering, and I think we decided that, look, diesel should not be, we can afford to sell it, at 1,000 naira, which is about 60% drop. Areas like here, Borno, Bauchi, and Co., it was selling for almost 1,718. So, but right now, I'm sure, in the next few days, you will not buy diesel more than 1,000, even 100, anywhere.
It was a week-long set of meetings and conversations on the global economy at the Spring Meetings in Washington, D.C., with the Nigerian delegation led by the Minister of Finance, Wale Edun. Muplanda Kok reports that among many things, Nigeria looks forward to the ratification of the third chair of the IMF for Sub-Saharan Africa. It also looks forward to increasing power generation from 4,000 megawatts to 6,000 in the next 6 months, as well as attracting various investments for the country.
We've come away with a bigger say for Africa through an additional chair, an additional seat on the board of directors of the IMF. We helped to complete that process, and I think that is a major success for Africa as a whole. In terms of remittances, it is clearly one of the ways in which we can boost foreign exchange supply and investment, funding for investment in the country.
The policymakers who say they are mindful to tackle infrastructure, security and other challenges through a prudent management of resources also had discussions with international money transfer organizations to set up a collaborative task force to drive economic growth in Nigeria. The minister highlighted oil revenue as a primary source and President Bola Tinubu's ambitious goal to increase oil production from 1.6 million barrels per day to 2 million barrels per day. Well, still on IMF and World Bank meetings, Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, led Nigerian delegation to the spring meeting with key issues dwelling on things such as the need to invest in power in Africa for industrialization and economic growth, securing long-term loans with longer moratoriums at very low interest rate, as well as wooing investors in ICT, solid minerals, education, healthcare, amongst others, taking the front burner. Now, to shed more light on the takeaways from the World Bank IMF meetings, I have joining me Ogbona Okuku, via Zoom. You're welcome to Business Express.
It's always a pleasure being here.
Actually, I was trying to figure out from where you're actually joining me, but now I can see it on the screen.
Okay, you thought I was in DC.
Of course. I thought you were to join me in person, so I was just trying to figure out, not knowing that you're actually coming on via Zoom. Well, the thing here is, before the delegation left the country, the message there was to sell Nigeria and also to attract investors. What's your assessment of the of the meeting so far, or the outing so far?
Now, for the critical thing or the critical takeaway here for me is those leading when it comes to selling Nigeria are actually is it that the president is the one leading or the coordinating minister of the economy. So this is very helpful because what it does is it gives the investors this confidence that they mean business. So the people that can promise you on a table and then at the end of the day, they are able to deliver on what the promises that they are giving to you. So the coordinating minister, the central bank governor, those are the level of people that should be sitting in meetings, especially when it has to do with the multilateral agencies, when it has to do with major, type C level, type C level companies, so those level of engagement has to be coordinated by people at that level. So for me, it's a good engagement, and the conversations will continue to move in that direction because whether we like it or not, we need foreign direct investment to be able to shore up our FX liquidity, to be able to grow our economy, to become more productive, because foreign direct investment also comes with it a transfer of technology. And then, so the areas where we are focusing on are the areas where we've been lagging as a nation when it comes to ICT, when it comes to solid minerals. So healthcare, because I mean, we've never really seen healthcare as a money spinner as a nation, because until we begin to see it as a money spinner. Rather, we are doing a lot of health tourism, funding other nations who have paid attention to such sectors.
Okay, well, the federal government got applaud for somehow its monetary policy reforms. We have seen lately stability in the foreign exchange market, and we've also seen an injection of $1.5 billion dollars into the economy. Is this what we actually need at this time to keep investor confidence high?
No, because whether we like it or not, until there's stability, it makes it difficult for investors to want to do business in your environment. Because like I always say, investors, they are like water, they move to areas of least resistance. So one of the major resistance they find in any economy is when there is instability. So instability can be caused by either an act of war, or maybe there's some mismanagement in the economy, or misappropriation of funds or corruption. So these are the things that when they begin to see a drive towards, advocating for a better business environment, stability in your FX market, stability in your economy, it gives them confidence. They want to come and do business in your environment.
The minister also talked about they were able to somehow Nigeria has somehow qualified for $2.25 billion dollars loan, which has a 10 to 20 years moratorium, and also at an interest rate of just 1%. What do you make of this development, and what sector should we invest this money so that we get the right return for it?
Now, see, when you have long-term funds like that from multilateral agencies, what you do is first things first is to invest in basic infrastructure, because for a loan that has a 20-year moratorium, so that's huge. So before you even start paying back a 30-year loan, that's like 50 years that you have. So you need to think well. So you have to invest in critical infrastructure that has, the ability to repay itself, but with trickles of monies coming from the society without, stifling the economy. Two, you must invest in education. I said it earlier. So countries like India, if we look at what India did, so what they're doing today, exporting, you know,
Uh, Brother Okugo, can you hear me?
you loud and clear.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
Um,
You can go on.
okay. Okay, so like I said, that huge sums of money with the level of moratorium, the level of of window that you have to spend that money in your economy. Another place where the money will be useful is in education. Until you train your people to have enough skill to to even export. It even helps you when it comes to when you rejig the entire system. Look at the loans. If you're looking at things like, giving student loans, so you need to be able to drive it in such a way that you have major companies in the world partner with them to now come and train your people on skills that are needed globally. So nobody's bothered about Jackpot because a country that is growing at almost 3% every year. So you have enough people. All you just need to do is train them, do your manpower audits, train them to have skills that are enough, that are needed outside here. Then you can actually export those skills, and then remittances will start coming because you have to structure in such a way that when these people go out there, they will provide service, earn money, and then the percentage comes back to you in foreign currency. So you begin to bank, you need to use that to show up your FX. But these are long-term, things, but you have to start building from today. So when you have long-term funds, you need to have, long-term strategy that has a beginning from today. Having a major diaspora, a redesigned system where funds can actually, come from diaspora to support productivity within your ecosystem.
Okay, the IMF and World Bank is saying that it's telling countries to somehow hold interest rate onto the later part of the year. But what does this imply for the investment climate, most especially in Nigeria, where the cost of borrowing is very high?
Now, so what you do is, see, first is first, you have to get government out, discourage government from borrowing from within. Because if government continues to borrow from within, it crowds out the productive sector, which is the manufacturing sector, because they won't have enough funds to support their businesses. So when you hold interest rates, now it helps also in stability, as far as the economy is concerned. So their advice is based on research they've done. They've seen that countries at this point in time, with the inflation and all of that hitting, right, left, and center, that you must hold interest rate at this point, and then get government to start borrowing from outside the financial system within their economy. Then look for FDIs, look for multilateral loans to support, the productive sector of the economy, and then to fund infrastructure, and then, their budget deficits.
Okay, thank you. Bernard Kuku, financial analyst. It's been a pleasure having you on the program.
All right, thank you so much for having me.
Now, moving on, let's see how much Naira is exchanging for other currencies. The Debt Management Office says Nigeria could raise up to $30 billion from its maiden foreign currency denominated bond issuance plan for June. Director General of the Debt Management Office, Patience Oniha, who stated this, noted that the $30 billion is about the estimated size of dollar assets within the country's local banking industry. The sovereign domestic foreign currency issuance aligns with moves to attract more forex inflows to stabilize the naira, which has suffered immensely from dollar shortages. Confirming earlier statements by Minister of Finance and Coordinator Minister for the Economy, Wale Edun, Oniha said the debut forex bond is being planned for the second quarter of 2024 and will be a short to medium-term instrument. She said the transaction advisors were yet to be appointed for the deal, but were being banked on for proper projections on what could come in. And out energy oil prices fell at Asia's open on Monday, dragged down by a renewed focus on market fundamentals as Israel and Iran played down the risk of an escalation of hostilities in the Middle East after Israel's apparently small strike on Iran. Brent futures fell 54 cents to $86.75 a barrel. The front-month U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude contract for May, which expires on Monday, fell 12 cents to $83.02 a barrel. The more active June contract dropped 47 cents to $81.75 a barrel. Now let's take a trip to the commodities market. Next is a summary of how stocks fared last week as put together by Olaika Ojo.
The NGX All Share Index and market capitalization depreciated by 2.71% to close last week trading at 99,539.75 basis points and 56.296 trillion naira. A total turnover of 1.597 billion shares worth 32.313 billion naira in 44,915 deals were traded by investors on the floor of the exchange. The financial services industry led the activity chart with 1.148 billion shares valued at 22.422 billion naira in 26,192 deals, contributing 71.87% and 69.35% to the total equity turnover in volume and value. The conglomerates industry followed with 117.629 million shares worth 1.579 billion naira in 2,501 deals. While the third place was the oil and gas industry with a turnover of 92.498 million shares worth 810.985 million naira in 2,621 deals. Trading in the top three equities were Access Bank Holdings plc, United Bank for Africa plc, and Zenith Bank plc. On exchange-traded products, a total of 31,329 units valued at 5.558 million naira were traded last week in 167 deals. For bonds, a total of 126,172 units valued at 124.978 million naira were traded in 28 deals. On summary of price changes, 13 equities appreciated in price during the week, 62 equities depreciated in price, while 79 equities remained unchanged. Olaika Ojo for Business Express.
Well, let's now head to global stock market, where Asia markets rebound from Friday's sell-off. China loan prime rates in focus. Maria is here to bring us up to speed. Hello, Maria.
Thank you, Musa. On the global scene, the bull dominated most stock markets despite tension in the Middle East. Markets in Europe started the new trading week on a positive note and an reassessment of interest rate expectations. DAX rose 0.52%, FTSE went up 1.51%, while CAC went up 0.17%. Asia markets rebounded from Friday's sell-off as investors look to fresh data points out of China, Japan, and South Korea this week. Nikkei appreciated 1%, Hang Seng Index went down 0.67%, Hang Seng Index went up 1.77%, while the Shanghai Composite went down 0.67%. Stock futures in the U.S. pushed higher Monday as Wall Street looks to find its footing following a steep sell-off for tech companies, which face a key test this week. The Dow Jones Industrial Average topped 0.47%, S&P 500 went up 0.47%, while the Nasdaq Composite went up also 0.49%. From the African markets, South African JSE Africa Top 40 went up 0.46%, Tunisia's Tune Index rose 0.41%, Namibia went down 0.67%, while Ghana was marginal. That's it from the global scene. I'm Maria Adozakari. Back to you, Musa.
Thank you, Maria. Well, this is where we end today's edition of Business Express. We value your feedback, so keep the comments, observations, and suggestions coming. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. I'm Musa Abubakar. Thanks for your company.